So this is rental car number 60, and today I'm back in a large SUV. This is the 2017 Nissan Pathfinder SV. So the Pathfinder is a mid-size crossover with a third row seat, and the MSRP on this one is $34,670. So this SUV has some decent acceleration, so I think we should start by popping the hood and taking a look underneath. So this is a 3.5-liter V6, and the transmission is a continuously variable speed automatic. You get about 284 horsepower, and you can go 0 to 60 in 7.4 seconds, which actually isn't bad for a larger SUV. And your fuel economy isn't horrible either. You get 19 miles per gallon in the city, and then 26 on the highway, which I think is pretty good overall. So with all that said, the Pathfinder was actually kind of pleasant to drive. It's not huge, so it's not one of the biggest SUVs I've driven, and the acceleration is pretty decent. Handling was nice, and overall it's a really comfortable ride. I guess what I'm saying is it was good. It wasn't exceptional, definitely wasn't the best crossover I've ever driven, but I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. Alright, let's stop talking about specs and let's jump inside. You do get keyless entry, so you can approach the vehicle with the key fob in your pocket, press that little button, and you can walk right in. The interior is nicely designed, but as with all Nissans, I feel like it kind of misses a little bit of a soul to it. It feels kind of stale in here. But you do get lots of bells and whistles, including a key fob. It's right here. You get 4 buttons on the front, nothing on the back. And because you have a key fob, it is push button start. It's located right here to the right of the steering wheel. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but the button actually turns red when the car is on. Kind of neat. Alright, so here's the steering wheel. It's a decent size, feels pretty good in the hand, and you have plenty of buttons to play around with. Right here on the left-hand side, these interact with the entertainment features. I just wanted to point out that the volume rocker right here kind of feels a little bit cheap. It feels like it's peeling away. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you when you have your vehicle. Right here on the right-hand side, these are the cruise controls, and then as I mentioned up above, you do get a digital display. Nissan really does well with these. It's full color, it's really bright and crisp, and it's easy to navigate through all the menu structures. I really like it a lot. Then you get 2 nice-sized gauges, RPMs on the left, and your speedometer on the right. Up top, up here, I kind of don't like the location of these, but this changes the brightness setting on the digital screen. And then you have your trip reset button right here. These are a little bit difficult to reach, especially when you're driving, but I mean, I guess it's kind of a unique way to do the controls. Alright, then shifting your focus over to the center console, you get a nice size touchscreen. I mean, Nissan does really well with the screens. And then a bunch of other controls that we'll go over in a second. First off, the touchscreen. Full touchscreen. You get a couple of buttons below to help you navigate through the menu structures, but it's bright and crisp. Everything is organized really well, and I was able to hook up my phone via Bluetooth in a matter of minutes. It was very easy, which is kind of important to me. So a little further down, you get controls for the CD player and the audio. Nothing really exciting here. Everything works fine. And then a little further down, you have the climate controls. These were pretty good. You do have to interact with the touchscreen a little bit to change some things, but these are easy to reach. The knobs and dials are all really nice quality plastic, so no complaints here at all. And then below that, you get a nice sized storage space with 2 power ports. Kind of dirty. Didn't notice that until now, but what can you do? It's a rental car. Moving on a little further back, you get your gear shift. I'm not really sure what to say about this. It shifts fine. It's a little clunky, but not horrible. Behind that, you get your controls to switch from 2-wheel drive to auto to 4-wheel drive. I played around with this a little bit, but didn't notice a huge difference. You also get 2 nice-sized cup holders. And then in the center, you do get an armrest with some interesting storage. It has 2 buttons on it, upper and lower. So if you press one, you get to the shelf system right there. And you press the other, you have access to the storage unit underneath. And down here you get a bunch of ports. You get 2 USB ports, an audio in, a video in, and then also an additional power port. All really nice to have. The glove box is pretty decent too. It's a nice size, and then it has some sort of structure to it so you can actually organize all the documents that you might keep in here. And then last, for the front seat, if you shift your gaze upwards, you get a standard rear view mirror. It's got some controls to auto dim and call 911. Sunglass holders up here. It's kind of a cheap plastic feel, but it does have a felt insert. And then two nice LEDs right here to light up the cabin for you. All right, let's keep going by jumping in the back seat. Remember, we also have a third row to go over, so I'll do that next. Back seat's a great size. It's pretty comfortable back here. I had plenty of leg room, and I'm 6 feet tall. The seats for the front are, pushed back to a realistic distance, and I still had probably 4 or 5 inches of leg room. It's all pretty nice to see. And there's not a ton of features back here for your passengers, but you do get 2 dedicated vents along with some controls to adjust the temperature and the fan. One thing I did like about these seats is that they're actually adjustable, so they do recline, which is a nice feature to have, and then you can slide them slightly forwards and backwards. And they also collapse completely forward so you can get into the third row. You just have to manipulate that big ugly switch you see there on the side of the seat, and then you have plenty of room to access the third row. Back here there's really only room for 2 adults, and the seats are a little bit more rigid. They're not quite as comfortable. And the legroom is a little bit less too, although I was actually able to sit back here. I wouldn't recommend riding back here for too long because there's not a whole lot of legroom, but an adult can actually sit back here and go for a ride. And because this is an SUV, you actually get some decent cargo space in the back. So this is what it looks like when the third row seats are down. You get plenty of space back here to store things. And then this is what it looks like when those third row seats are up. You still get plenty of space back here to go grocery shopping and run some errands. I mean, it's still a decent amount of space back here. And then underneath the floor, you get an additional sort of storage unit. It's not as modular as I've seen on some other vehicles, but, there's enough back here where you can keep some things. All right, so that's pretty much all the important stuff about the Nissan Pathfinder. I rented this one from Enterprise, drove it for about 2 days, and put, I think, about 146 miles on it. And after all that, I think I'm going to give this one 3 stars. And I don't feel great about this rating, but I just don't find the Pathfinder to be very interesting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good-looking vehicle, has a nice touchscreen, plenty of cargo space. There's definitely room for 7 full-size adults, so those are all positives. I just wasn't blown away, so I'm going to stick with 3 stars. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end, and I hope you join me next time when I rent my 61st rental car. That'll be the 2017 Jeep Cherokee Latitude. I'll see you then.